Good evening. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. My name is Nada St. Germain, and this topic is kind of important, especially with my journey with Neolife. I was introduced to Neolife over 35 years ago, and back then I was working as a police officer right downtown Toronto. And I don't know if any of you were around those days, but we rode motorcycles in the wintertime with a sidecar. So after being in the winter in the cold and driving around in that cold, I developed a lot of arthritis in my knees to a point where I had to stop all high impact sports. I couldn't do step aerobics anymore. And I was getting kind of concerned because my mom, who was in her 40s at the time, was really struggling with a lot of pain through her whole body. Back then, they weren't diagnosing fibromyalgia, but we're going to share some information that's going to help you understand, how even autoimmune diseases and how gut health is also related to inflammation. And so I shared Neolife with my mom, and that was, I was introduced by a neighbor and a dear friend, and the difference and the impact that these products have made in our life over the last 35 years has been amazing. I'm very active. I no longer struggle with any joint pain in my knees, and even with my mom. You're going to hear a story a little bit later. So that's why I guess I'm a little excited about sharing this information with you. And even my oldest son had a brain injury a month after COVID, and the salmon oil helped his recovery tremendously by reducing inflammation. So it's amazing when you can reduce inflammation, how much faster your body can heal. And that's what we'll be focusing on tonight. And just remember, I mean, Neolife never claims to cure anything, but when you can supply the body with the proper nutrients to get your cells functioning properly, to get them healthy, to reduce inflammation, it really does give you a better quality of life. And who would like to have better quality of life? I think many of us that are joining this evening. But we do need to look at our diet. Because when you're looking at cellular energy, joint health, and muscle health, food is our fuel. And you are what you eat. And the reality is that 75% of all chronic diseases are preventable. So you want to look at what are you putting in, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So you want to make sure, and I'm not saying, you can never have sugar or never have a treat. We call that sometimes food, but sometimes people eat that sometimes food every day. So that's the thing that, you want to make some changes, especially when you're looking at sugar. So many people are struggling where they're always looking for sugar for that quick fix, for the energy. And even a lot of our foods have a lot of hidden sugars. So you got to be really careful when you're looking at breakfast cereals, anything in a box. Because again, sugar is an inflammatory food. And when you look at what our children are consuming every day for breakfast, you can really see some of the challenges that they're going to have as they age. So even yogurt, sometimes moms think that, hey, I'm buying my kids a healthy snack, or you're buying this healthy treat that you think is healthy. But a lot of our sugar, our yogurt even products have a lot of sugar. So you really got to read your labels, look at the carbs, look at the sugar, and just make healthier choices, because all of these things contribute to inflammation in the body. Okay. So these are things we want to focus on. Even the Canadian Food Guide, I mean, back in 2019, they made a pretty drastic change to what we should be eating every day, where most of your foods should be whole food, like your fruits and vegetables, and a little bit of whole grain, and good quality protein, and water should be your drink of choice. But the challenges with the grains, when I first looked at Neolife over 35 years ago, I really thought I was eating healthy. I thought I was eating whole grains, and you know, I didn't understand that our grains are no longer whole. Our grains today are milled, they're processed, they're destroyed. They remove all the critical oils from the grain because they used to grow the wheat, grind the wheat to make the flour and make the bread. Well, guess what? The breads only had a day shelf life. Whereas how long do our breads last now, right? They last weeks, our cereals last years, and our pasta lasts forever. So we call this like the great grain robbery because of mass production. They needed to find a way to make our breads have a longer shelf life. Anything in a box are grains. And they mill out the fiber, the outer layer, all these precious oils. And, these are essential nutrients. And when they remove all of this, we're left with this starch, white flour, protein, gluten. There's not a lot of nutritional value in our breads and in our cereals today. So this is kind of scary because I didn't understand that this was one of the main reasons why I had hormonal issues, and why I really struggled with fatigue. Okay, so and studies show that there is a danger from what we are missing, and it's these lipids and sterols. And there was a medical doctor from Boston University. He made a powerful statement. He said, food manufacturers generally remove these spoilage prone compounds, essential fatty acids from pasta, bread, and breakfast cereal in order to lengthen the shelf life. Essential fatty acid deficiency is perhaps the most important health problem in America. So it's scary. And again, this is something you can't get in your diet unless you're grinding your own meat and making your own breads and flours. And that's where supplementation is important. And Maryellen, being a holistic nutritionist and with everything that you see that's out there, the challenge that we're having with getting good quality supplements and what you have to look for and why Neolife is such a great product. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Nada. And yes, that's so true. When I took my holistic nutrition course, there was so many different products out there and it was so confusing. And this is what made me even more comfortable, the fact that I'd been with Neolife for many years when I saw that difference with them. And for myself, I had tried many products with my son with his respiratory issues, and I couldn't understand none of them were working. In fact, some of them made him worse. And it was because of what's in our supplements today. So it's really, really important to trust who you deal with. And when I got introduced to Neolife, I remember talking to as a coworker of my husband. I said, okay, what makes this different? And she said, all I know it's made from whole food, right? So and it's been around since 1958, and I'm not sick and tired anymore. So I really trusted her. I got my son started, and within 6 months, just to clarify, these products don't treat, diagnose, or cure any disease, but it's amazing what the body can do when it has the right support. And this is what got me very, very excited. And myself, I suffered from migraines, and it was the Neolife products, which helped with the inflammation, which we're going to talk a lot about tonight. And probably one of the reasons why I don't have any joint issues, because I've prevented it with keeping my inflammation down. So, how do we fill these gaps? Well, whole food supplements. That's the key. What's missing in our food, because our food is not the way it used to be. And there's what do you look at? Natural, synthetic. There's so many different types of products out there, but especially synthetic. It's made from chemicals. We have enough chemicals in our environment. We don't need to be taking them in through our supplements. And natural can be anything from the ground. And people think because stuff's in a store, and so who do you trust? Well, it's kind of interesting because there's been many studies out there where they've gone into places like Walmart and GNC and Target, and they find that the products are not clean just because they're in a store. Because a lot of people think, oh, it's in a store, it's going to be okay, but that's not necessarily true at all. And unfortunately, the number one counterfeit nutritional supplement is fish oil supplement, omega-3. And how many people do you know who take omega-3s? People are actually creating fake fish oils. And even a lot of the oils out there, the chemicals they use to extract the oils makes the product so toxic. And this is an interesting article because the FDA finds hidden drugs in nearly 50 dietary supplements sold on Amazon and eBay. And I'm sure you know someone who's bought a supplement off of these companies. So you've got to be super, super careful. And this is interesting because it says, but the label says joint supplement contains undeclared drug. This was found in omega-3s, glucosamines, curcumin, and this was a product sold at Walmart. And it was also found to contain an anti-inflammatory drug that could cause heart attack, stroke, bleeding, or serious side effects. Now, that's pretty scary. And this was just in May of 2022. So this is why when I looked at Neolife, I absolutely felt it was a name you could trust. The whole philosophy of based in nature, but backed by science. Because as I mentioned, it's been around since 1958. They've never had a recall. They do have a pharmaceutical license for manufacturing. This is not required, but this is an extra step that Neolife takes. They're in more than 50 countries around the world, and they meet or exceed the health standards of every single one of those countries, which is amazing. And the reason they have this high quality control is because of the Scientific Advisory Board. It was founded by Dr. Arthur First, and he's included these world-renowned scientists and nutrition experts and researchers who are involved in the research and development of the product. They're not just a good-looking doctor who endorses the product. And Dr. First founded the Neolife Scientific Advisory Board in the 70s, and he was actually the co-founder of oral chemotherapy. And when he was doing his research in cancer, he found nutrients in food that actually prevent disease. And that's why he joined up with Neolife, because of their whole food philosophy. And as you can see his credentials, he has a PhD in chemistry from Stanford. He's a diplomat of the Academy of Toxicological Sciences, a distinction that's held by fewer than 100 scientists around the world. And that's why you can be so sure our products are so pure. And what's really nice about Neolife, these scientists come right out in the field. So we actually get to meet them, ask them questions. And there's a picture with Nat and I with Dr. First, probably over 20 years ago, and where we had spent some time with him in a convention. And another key criteria, make sure that the products are independently tested and published in peer-reviewed journals. The actual product, as you can see, Neolife has been published in numerous journals, including the New England Journal of Medicine. And again, what's the difference between natural and whole food? Natural can be anything from the ground. A lot of products you see are made from algae, pine bark, ephedra, coal tar, where Neolife uses whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and wild salmon, because this is the key nutrients, even that Lancet says that we're missing in our diets. And it's had safe use for decades. And every ingredient is non-GMO and gluten-free. And they actually do transgenetic testing of every single batch to make sure. They can actually follow it right from the seed stock. So Nada, do you want to share how we can fill the gap with our Pro Vitality?
Sure. So when we talk about our diet, Maryellen, we talked about the grains being processed and milled, and we should be eating more fruits and vegetables, good quality fish. The challenge is sometimes eating enough of those and finding good sources, and so that's where supplementation is so important. And this is an amazing pack called Pro Vitality. Well, it has a little bit of all of those key nutrients that we need to be consuming more of every single day. And I like to call this a Cadillac of multis. And then if you have a lot of inflammation in the body, you can always increase your omega-3s, your salmon oil. But this is like what we call our core nutrition, because it kind of is the foundation. And when you look at the solution to the whole grain gap, Tran is the first capsule that's in that little pack. And it helps to promote cellular energy and efficiency. Like one of these that's in this little pack that you take every day after a month is like 12 pounds of whole grains in every box. And it was developed for a hospital research study. And there's no gluten, GMO free. And you're only as healthy as your cells. And these oils, these lipids, they surround the cell membrane. Without these grain oils in your diet, the cell membrane becomes hard and leathery. So nutrients can't get in and waste can't get out. So this is why they put this pack together, because you need to make sure your cells are working properly, because that's where disease starts. It starts at the cellular level. So this is one of the first nutrients, and it just helps to feed your cells healthy nutrients, healthy grains, nutrients in and waste out. And Tran, Texas A&M University, they did their own studies. And they proved that your cells will absorb nutrients from your diet by 50% more. So this is pretty awesome. So if you have a great diet, this is just going to make everything work better. And when you're looking at inflammation and aging, the evil twins are oxidation and inflammation. Okay. And there's so many foods that cause inflammation and that oxidize your body. And there's a lot of foods that protect you and reduce inflammation. So you really want to make sure that you're getting these nutrients, and your fruits and vegetables are huge. The dark colors, the tomatoes, the carrots, the peppers, the spinach, the apricots, the peaches, and the amount that we should be eating every day. We don't come anywhere near the 9 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. And this one capsule that's in this pack, carotenoid complex, if you take one of these a day, just one, after a month, it's like eating 80 pounds of raw fruits and vegetables in every box. Like that's pretty awesome. I don't know you if you have any, younger kids or teenagers, but I don't know, not too many kids are eating that many servings. So this is just a great product to help to fill the gap and clinically proven to boost your immune system 37% in just 20 days. So that's a pretty awesome study that was published by the USDA and the CDC researchers. And then when you're looking at omega-3, omega-3, you probably know, or a lot of people know it's good for your heart and your brain, but it's also amazing for flexible joints, eyesight, so important for mom and baby. But the challenge with eating fish is toxins, mercury, lead. It's hard to find clean fish, and our salmon oil is tested for over 200 contaminants with an allowance of 0. So this plays such a key role in reducing inflammation in the body. And the study that was done on our salmon oil, yes, it was found to help with your heart, reduces triglycerides, but it was proven, clinically proven, to reduce inflammation 68% in just 8 weeks. That's 3 of those little capsules. So when you add a couple extra to the pack, you're adding more of an anti-inflammatory property. And the stories and the testimonials we get from people after anywhere from 2 to 4 months, sometimes even going into 6 months, the difference in how they function, flexibility, absolutely amazing. So you're going to hear some pretty awesome stories. And then there's a multivitamin in this pack. So when you add this to this pack, again, I call it a Cadillac of multis because it has a grain oil, the TRINN, it has a carotenoid, which is your fruits and vegetables. It has a salmon oil, which is your omega-3, and a multivitamin. So again, just to fill the nutritional gap as a foundation. And then when you add protein, protein is the building blocks to everything in your body. Protein's a healer. It's not just for muscle building, but our protein is completely natural, has all 22 amino acids. It's easy to digest. 18 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber. It has a glycemic control response, so it regulates blood sugar to get your blood sugar in that glycemic control zone. It is a complete meal replacement as well, and whole food antioxidants. So when you're looking at, weight management, you can replace 2 meals with this protein shake, or even 1 shake a day, and following a healthy meal plan, you can lose incredible body fat. Because as you know, body fat and excess weight does play a role on your joints. And we also have an amazing vegan option for those of you that are looking for more of a plant-based product. It tastes fantastic compared to some of the other vegan products that are out there. It's also the only biologically complete protein on the market. No sugar, easy to digest, vitamins and minerals, and again, very similar to the Neolife Shake. It's just an amazing meal replacement. Now, Maryellen, when we're talking about, joint pain and weight, what are some of the statistics that are out there?
Yeah, well, it's surprising that over 70% of adults are overweight. And this was sourced from the CDC. So when you hear this, it's kind of scary that so many people are struggling with their weight.
Mm-hmm.
And we do have some amazing testimonials in Neolife. This is one of, our biggest success stories. This is Carlos. He was suffering with severe joint pain, diabetes, all sorts of health issues. And he actually lost 251 pounds in 26 months. And the amazing thing is once he lost the weight, well, for one thing, he never had to have surgery because I asked him, I said, Carlos, did you have surgery? He said, no, I lost the fat, but not the muscle. Because, we talked about protecting the muscle, but it also made a huge difference in his joints, and he's running marathons now, and he's just, he's actually enjoying life. So it's made a huge difference in his life. Because you think about it, for every 1 pound you lose, so people beat themselves up. They go, oh, I only lost 5 pounds, right? You actually take 4 pounds of pressure off your knees. So if you take 5 pounds off, that's 20 pounds of pressure off your knees. That's huge. So, just keep that in mind. Like every little gain is a great gain for your joints. And when you look at core nutrition, there's there's so many different areas. So we're going to target right in for joints. And joint pain and stiffness affects half of adults. So when you look at this, you see 54% joint pain, 48% stiff joints. You see people all the time not being as flexible, arthritis. There's so many issues out there, 400 million people worldwide. And cartilage is definitely the key. What cartilage does is lubricating, weight bearing, friction eliminating, shock absorbing tissue. That's the key to the joint's amazing function. And it's kind of like a little pad that sits between the joints. And what it does, it allows us to walk tens of thousands of miles in our lifetime in complete comfort and facilitates millions of jaw motions, talking, chewing, and smiling. So here's osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is the wear and tear arthritis, which is caused usually from repetitive motion. It's painful inflammation and stiffness of the joints, and it actually results from a breakdown of that cartilage tissue. So you can see on the left, that's a normal joint. And then on the right, there's a joint affected by osteoarthritis. So you can see the cartilage is thin. There's often cartilage fragments that float around and cause pain. So it's definitely a distressed joint. And so what are some of the key nutrients for joint health? To promote joint flexibility and range of motion? Well, zinc is very, very important because it stimulates growth and calcification involved in collagen synthesis. Boron reduces calcium loss and bone demineralization. So again, it protects the bones. Silica supports bone growth. Glucosamine is actually required to make new cartilage. And omega-3 fatty acids, as Nada was talking about, supports a healthy balance of inflammatory and anti-inflammatory factors. Because if you have inflammation going on, it attacks the joint. And so what are some of the benefits of glucosamine? Well, it slows down the breakdown of cartilage. So it helps build, repair, regenerate cartilage to reverse that osteoarthritis process. It also reduces pain and other symptoms, which gives us comfort, flexibility, and mobility. And the NeoLife Full Motion, it keys right into all of those aspects I just talked about. It has natural, high-quality source of purified glucosamine. It's the glucosamine hydrochloride, not the sulfate, which is harder on the stomach. You get 1,500 milligrams of standardized glucosamine, and it's pharmaceutically pure. So it's a great product to help us, stay in motion. And Nada, do you want to share your mom's story?
Sure. Hopefully you can hear this okay.
Mother-daughter duo. I know they look like sisters actually, but Nada, if I could start with you, can you just share a little bit about your journey with NeoLife?
So 33 years ago, Cindy, is when I was introduced to NeoLife. I was working as a police officer in Toronto, and I struggled with some health challenges that a lot of 20-year-olds struggle with hormones, PMS, fatigue. I had some joint issues. I never took supplements, and I watched Mom take supplements maybe off and on for a couple of years, and she was struggling with some aches and pains and didn't have a lot of faith in the area of supplementation because she wasn't getting any results. Back then, fibromyalgia was not being diagnosed, but later she was diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So I was introduced to the products. I decided to try them, and I asked my mom, I said, Mom, let's just try these products from NeoLife and just see if they'll make a difference. And in a very short time after using the products, my health turned around, hormonal balance, PMS under control. I had more energy. Eventually my joint pain was gone, but watching the transition in Mom was incredible. And I'm gonna have her share a little bit of her challenges because dealing with aches and pains and struggling with fibro, I don't think you really know unless you have that challenge and that condition. So Mom, I just want you to share a little bit about the...
Okay, so yeah, I started when I was pretty young, in my late 30s. Aches and pains, especially working in a cold office and air conditioning, really affected me. And my doctor always was checking my iron. She said, oh, everything's fine. I don't know why you're so tired. Blah, blah, blah. So anyway, finally, when we moved up here and eventually changed doctors, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Yeah. And then around the same time, I actually started taking the products. And right away, I noticed a big difference in my energy, less pain. My pain wasn't really like spotty pain. It was more muscular, like muscular weakness and tired. And slowly I started feeling better. And then eventually, when they introduced full motion, oh yes, because I had arthritis in my fingers and my toes and my knees. My knees weren't that bad, but just walking up the stairs, sometimes I felt like they were a little bit sore. And eventually I noticed in the morning my fingers were stiff, like I would open it up right away when I woke up instead of about an hour later. And my pain in my knees disappeared totally, walking up the stairs. And also a little bit of arthritis in my toes, also gone. And then that was when I did the full motion. Full motion, and I increased my salmon oil. So that's what really helped me.
So those are the main things that mom was taking. And just remember, guys, it was a journey. It
And
didn't
yeah,
happen. Oops, sorry. It didn't happen like overnight. But her being consistent, that was the key thing. And now we're gonna have Shelly. Shelly's actually live with us tonight. Shelly, we
Hi.
love to hear your story.
Thanks. I always giggle when I see that picture of me with the teacup because that's like at I think 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
But but anyways, my story is I was extremely active, running, cycling, playing sports when I was younger. So by the time I got to my 20s, I had to have both my knees scoped and I had to start wearing neoprene braces. Everything was great until I was in my 40s when my knees started acting up again because I was still active through all those years and I didn't want to have surgery again. So I actually went to the doctor. They wanted to give me some anti-inflammatories, but I did ask if there was some alternatives, and I tried different alternatives for 2 years, more natural things, and sometimes they worked a bit, and then they stopped or they didn't work at all. And then I met Nada at a show, and we just connected, and just the information I decided to try exactly what Maryellen and Nada have been talking about with the salmon oil and the full motion. And within a month, my pain was gone. And within a year, I no longer wear my neoprene braces. So before I started the products, I had cycled in the Ride to Conquer Cancer, the 200 plus kilometers, and I wore my braces. By the next year, doing it again, I didn't have to. And I've been pain free for 14 years or 15 years now, I guess. And in 2021, I ended up slipping on some ice and broke my both bones in my right leg. I now have a rod and 4 screws, but I'm so grateful that I knew about these products because they helped me heal in 7 weeks. They helped me keep the inflammation down. The surgeons and nurses and physios were all so surprised at what I was able to do and how quickly I was able to get back to being active and uh, and working through the rehab because I know so many people who have a severe injury like that and just don't get back to doing all the things that they want to do. But I know for me, I'm back cycling and kayaking and curling, and I went skiing and still being as active as I was before. So I'm so grateful for these products and learning about Neolife because they really have kept me active as I age.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shelley. And you know, this is a dear friend of mine, Debbie Abbott. Some of you know her. We actually joined the police force together, and on duty, she was in a motorcycle accident and her foot was severed. They did pin it back and they told her she'd have no motion, no mobility in her ankle, and she was devastated. She just loved her job. She was so worried that she wouldn't be able to get back at work again. And when I went into the hospital, all she said to me was, "Bring it on." And she knew exactly what I wanted to do. And we started her on the salmon oil and full motion and zinc, like some of those things that Maryellen had talked about. But full motion hadn't been launched yet. And her recovery with the protein, salmon oil, and zinc and Trianan, just a few things, was incredible. She didn't need any skin grafts. Her recovery was just exceptional. And then a few years later, they told her initially that she wouldn't be able to put like a lot of weight on that ankle. And then they launched full motion in Canada, asked me if I knew anybody that would do a test study. And Debbie was one of them. And she started to be able to do a light jog on her ankle. Her recovery and the mobility in her ankle, even the physiotherapist said they couldn't believe the recovery and the mobility. So anyway, she ended up getting back on the force, and she retired as a police officer a few years ago. And the quality of life that she has, and she still has the rod holding her, like with Shelly. But it's amazing how with good quality supplements, she can reduce inflammation and just keep things under control. And that's what these amazing products will do. And then we have Tibor. Tibor is one of our newest promoters. His wife, Frances, some of you know him. No, Francis, I mean. And oh my gosh, he was a hard nut to crack, but we convinced him to try the products, and he's going to share his story. It's pretty cool. So I'm here with Tibor, and as you can see, he's doing this amazing renovation, building an addition on his home. Lots of work and lots of wear and tear on your joints, and you were having some issues with your hand. So maybe just share your journey.
Yeah, so issues with my hand and my elbows, and so I was taking nothing because I don't like to take anything. I don't like pills, supplements. I take nothing. But I started seeing my wife got better on Neolife, and then her friends got better with issues, and then her neighbor got better, and I thought, well, I'm not going to get left out. Like, I'm going to try. So I went against my natural inclination, and I've tried it. For 2 months, I was taking like the regular pack. And my wife knows everything. And then I was taking salmon oil and magnesium and
Full motion.
Full motion. And so I gave it a try. So I used to have to ask, which is kind of embarrassing, after work to ask, used to ask, can you rub my hands for my wife and my son? So after 2 months, actually maybe a month and a half, it just, my hands stopped hurting. So I'm so grateful for that. Like, my elbows still are hurting, but my hand, I don't have to ask anybody to massage my hand. So that to me is huge.
Yeah. And I talked to him recently, and the joint pain now in his elbows are gone, and his knees. He's doing amazing, just having fantastic results. So yeah, that's just another amazing story. Oh goodness. What happened here? Sorry. Don't know what happened. Oops. Here we go. Sometime, there we go. And now we have Heather. Heather actually reached out to me tonight, and she said, here, I need to share my story. So she sent it to us, and I'm hoping that you can hear, because it's an awesome story as well.
Nada, you got to share your screen again.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Nope, I'll pause it. Thank you. Forgot that piece. Oh, hang on a second here. Nope, technical difficulties. Don't know where my oh, here we go. Share screen. Thank you. Here we go. Can you see that now? Awesome. Thanks, Maryellen.
Hello, my name is Heather LaCroix, and I'd like to share with you my story about joint pain and healing. So I've had joint issues most of my life. It seems to run in my family: chronic back pain, bad knees. I had frequent sprained ankles during childhood. And then in high school, I dislocated my shoulder several times. And so gradually I had to give up all my sports. In my 30s, I had a really bad knee injury playing basketball and ended up with a full plaster cast on my leg and on crutches for 6 weeks. It turned out that I'd torn the ligaments as well as the cartilage. And for years, I couldn't even come close to kneeling on the floor or playing any sports. I often suffered episodes of my back going out, immobilized, and totally unable to function. I was diagnosed with degenerated disc in my lower back. Well, I was introduced to Neolife when I was 45, and I started on the basic nutrition pack. And then after learning more about nutrition and the benefits, I added extra salmon oil and then the full motion. Well, I'll be 72 this July, and I golf several times a week in the summer. I curl using the sliding delivery, and I play pickleball a couple of times a week, snowshoe and Nordic pole walk. I can easily kneel down now to garden and play with my grandchildren. Oh, and an extra benefit I experienced was that I no longer had the migraines that I suffered with ever since childhood. So that really gave me back a lot of my life, really. Thanks to Neolife products, my body was able to heal when given the proper nutrients and building blocks for healthy joints. I can play many sports again, and I enjoy an active lifestyle. I'm excited to offer proven solutions to others who want to get back to activities and sports that they may have given up due to joint issues. So hopefully this will give you hope. Thank you.
And we all know Heather. She's full of energy all the time. And sometimes when she doesn't come on our calls, it's because she's playing pickleball or she's at some kind of event. So it's pretty cool to see her journey. Hang on. There we go. So we've talked about the osteo. We've talked about actual wear and tear and joint issue. But gut health also plays a really big role when you're looking at inflammation and some of the autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia. And Maryellen, if you'd like to maybe hop on and just share a little bit more about why this is important, especially when you're looking at inflammation, dealing with autoimmune.
Yeah, it's amazing the role that the gut plays, not only in immunity, 80% of our immune system is there, but also how our body reacts to inflammation and autoimmune diseases. Because what ends up happening is you end up with like a leaky gut, and then these food particles get into the bloodstream, start attacking the tissues, and the body starts attacking itself. So it's very, very detrimental. And one of the conditions that you hear a lot about is fibromyalgia. So what are some of the signs? Well, people have all this pain like everywhere in their body. Sometimes they're muscle spasm, they have tenderness, chronic fatigue, a lot of bowel issues. So here's where the gut plays a big role. And oftentimes IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. Sometimes they have restless leg syndrome, depression, brain fog. And some of the theories for the cause of this are stress, either physical or mental. Often a car accident even will cause it. Post-traumatic stress and even genetics play a role. It often runs in families. Holistic remedies have really started to gain followers by healing the body with a more natural approach. Especially since it's autoimmune and related to the gut, a lot of medications, they kind of mask the symptoms and sometimes make them worse. So some of the things you could do are adequate rest and sleep, gentle exercise, stretching is very, very important. Eating a really clean diet, supplements play a role. And some of the Neolife supplements that are helpful are like the Pro Vitality, which Nada talked a lot about, plus the Neolife Shake, extra salmon oil, full motion, and the digestive aids to really target into the gut. And here's our dear friend Lori. She has a very good story about rheumatoid arthritis, which is another autoimmune disease.
Being almost pain-free, and we all know with rheumatoid arthritis, it is something that you'll always have the condition, but by keeping your immune system strong, you can live a longer, healthier life. So maybe you can give everybody an idea on the challenges you had and what you did through your journey.
Okay, so my rheumatoid arthritis was in my feet and my hands. I would wake up in the morning, we sleep like this. I'd wake up in the morning and I would literally have to peel my fingers open like that. To get out of bed, the thought of putting my feet on the ground was like torture to me because it hurt so bad. Once I started to move around, of course, things loosened up a little bit, but just the thought of getting out of bed was like, oh, I have to put my feet down on the ground again. So I went on all the medications that they tell you that are going to help you, and they don't tell you about all the side effects. One of the medications that I was on was destroying my esophagus, and that's when I couldn't take the medications anymore. And so I decided to go into a study where they gave me injections, which would take away my immune system so that the rheumatoid arthritis would stop. Because basically, rheumatoid arthritis is your immune system attacking your joints. So if they take your immune system away, your rheumatoid arthritis is going to stop. That's the way they look at it. So I went on that for about 9 months, but I couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I didn't have an immune system. So I called Nada again and I said, Nada, I've got to do something. I have to get off these injections. I've got to change my life. So she came over, she put together a program for me, and I also did some diet changes. I gave up meat, gluten, dairy, and I went on all the products that Nada suggested. And I actually did something not very smart, but I stopped taking the injections just cold turkey, which I ended up being okay with it, but maybe
And it's not something that.
No, I know you would.
recommend.
Nobody ever recommended that. That was my own decision. I decided that on myself. I just decided I was not going to put those injections in my body anymore, and I just went full force with the program for 3 months, and then another 3 months. We kind of, brought it down. I am now in remission. There is no sign of rheumatoid arthritis in my blood at all. I do still have the damage that was done previous to all the medications and everything, but I have no damage going further. I have very little pain in weather when it's raining, damp. Other than that, I live very differently.
I just wanted to add that a combination of gut healing, improving her digestion, eliminating some of these foods that cause inflammation, along with good supplementation that I know was mainly the like the fish oil, the grain oil, probiotics. There was a few products that we zeroed in on just to give Lori a better chance on her cells just working better and her body working better. And I've seen such an incredible improvement. So
I can wear rings again. I couldn't wear rings for like 5 years. I didn't have rings on my fingers, so that's like huge for me.
She's doing amazing. She's my dear friend, and she's so grateful. And she's really enjoying life now. So here we go, Maryellen. This was what she talked about.
Yeah, Acidophilus Plus is an incredible product for the gut. It's intestine targeted, and there are so many different probiotics and acidophilus out there. And the difference with the Neolife one is, number one, it's whole food derived, and it's concentrated from 5 different active cultures, and it has a unique intestine targeted probiotic. Neolife has an artificial stomach. They put all the probiotics through there. None of them made it down to the area where it was needed, except for the Neolife one. It's 99.9% target delivery. It has 5 billion live microorganisms. A lot of the products are not live, and it's clean too, which is important, because I know there has been issues with some of the other probiotics sold in drugstores and stuff with having some bacteria in them. And it's proprietary blend of 5 types of clinically proven probiotics. So it's very, very different. And the gel guard enteric coating makes sure that it gets down into the right area.
Right.
And as you can see, one acidophilus would be like eating 10 servings of yogurt. But even with taking 10 servings of yogurt, there's no guarantee that it actually has the bacteria in it, or that the bacteria is going to reach down to the right area, because the stomach acid often destroys it. But that just shows how powerful the acidophilus is. And aloe is another great healer for the gut. It actually rebuilds some mucosa in the stomach, is wonderful for leaky gut, which helps a lot with autoimmune diseases. And scientific studies show it has so many benefits: occasional constipation, immune system enhancement. It supports normal blood sugar levels, respiratory, digestive, healing, balances inflammation. I have lots of clients with skin issues who swear by the aloe. It makes such a difference because, of course, the skin is the largest organ in the body. So if stuff is coming out, it comes out in the skin. And Anna, do you want to just figure out how we, or close up with how core nutrition can tie in with everything?
Yeah, you know, because we did talk about a lot of products, and I was talking with somebody earlier, and she was like, well, where's the best place to start? And I always, like to say, if you don't have a lot of tummy issues and you just kind of, and you're not used to taking supplements, starting with something as basic as our core nutrition or breakfast solution, it is a really good place to start. And then you can always add a little extra salmon oil a little bit later, or add a probiotic or the aloe. So just, talk to the person who invited you and just figure out what will be best for you. But definitely the core nutrition would be great, and does, like I said, it does come in a vegan option if you prefer to do the vegan shake instead of the Neolife shake. And getting started is so easy. You can become a club member for free. It unlocks a 10% discount. You can even get a 20% savings on every order, just by being on a convenient monthly order that lasts a month. You can also get all your shipping back. We also have a referral program where you can get your products for free. So it really is very simple if you're just wanting to try the products. And if you're kind of curious about the income opportunity, it's only $98 in Canada to start a business, or 75 in the US. And that unlocks a 25% savings. When I looked at this 35 years ago, I didn't think I'd be building a business, but boy, when the results came, I got so excited to share. I saw this as an incredible income opportunity because the products worked and people were coming back and the stories started coming. And that's why I was so excited to do something different, because I really wanted to leave my police career and do something where I had more time, freedom, and flexibility. But again, these are the different health solutions. We have our vitality pack, our breakfast solution, our weight loss solution. Just find us a place that you in your heart want to start, and we will help and support you. And again, the breakfast solution is definitely by far one of the better places to start. And again, you can start for free. You get a discount if you're curious about the income, or if you just want to learn more. Every Thursday, we do a different topic. I think, Maryellen, we decided we're going to do cancer in the immune system next Thursday. And what was the one after that? I kind of had a bit of a brain freeze. Sorry, you're muted. So,
Hormones.
oh, that's right, hormones, and also, so yeah, so cancer in the immune system next Thursday, and the week after we're going to do hormonal balance. So this is how we learn, we share, and we provide you with amazing information and stories and testimonials, just to give you a bigger picture on who we are, what we do, and how we can truly impact people's lives. So again, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to thank everyone that's shared tonight. Maryellen, thank you so much for your expertise. I will stop the sharing. I will also stop the recording and open it up to any questions that you may have. So thank you again all for joining us tonight.